This video is brought to you by Squarespace, allowing you to create your own beautiful website and online shop. So let's do it.
So I have this idea where I want to combine leather, walnut and copper to make a desk lamp. I could really use another desk lamp and I love the combination of these materials. So let's figure something out. I'm Linn and this is the Darbin Orvar channel. This is kind of what I'm thinking, where I'm using these copper piping and these elbows to create this kind of rounded thing. And then I have the lamp kit, and around the lamp kit I want to make a nice shade.
I want to use copper for the skeleton of the shade, and then I remembered I had some leftover electrical wiring from wiring up the shop. And if you take it apart, you find 12 gauge wire inside, which is perfect. So this project all came down to experimentation. First I made a skeleton kind of hanging around the lamp kit. And yeah, I didn't love that. So back to the drawing board. I really love using the copper pipes. These are 1/2 inch. They're so cool since you can really be creative and flexible with how large you want something. Once I had the basic style of the arm, I first cut the lamp cord, and then I tried to feed it through all the way. And it was kind of hard to feed it in one shot, so I think I might have to break it up in sections when I make the arm. So once the arm was more thought out, I worked on the shade concept again. The idea is, I want to make a smaller ring for the top of the lampshade and connect it to the copper pipe arm with spokes. So I'm drilling some holes in the pipe, and then cutting up pieces to be soldered in later. But in terms of the shade, I tried a different kind of skeleton away from the lamp this time. I made 2 copper rings, one small and one larger, and connected them together with more wire.
Okay, I'm done with my first lampshade skeleton. This was more difficult than I thought it would be.
Next step was to test the concept with leather for the shade. So I made a rough model with scrap paper and then cut the leather piece I needed. This is 4-ounce veg tanned.
You know what this made me realize? Which I thought about as I was doing the sketching, and I was thinking, oh, I should be able to make this work. But it would be so much easier if I had this part and this part be the same size. So all you do was to roll around and have this situation instead of trying to finagle it into a cone structure, which is so much trickier to get clean looking with the leather, because you have to make a fold or cut and it's just not the same thing at all.
So at this point I realized that the top and the bottom of the shade should be the same size, which makes sense. And then it hit me even more reasonably.
It's kind of funny, the more I think about this, the more I realize that the leather here is nice and rigid. It doesn't really need a metal structure around it. Maybe I could think of something else here instead. This needs to be like have a see-through. And this is perfectly strong to be a lampshade.
So to eliminate the copper skeleton and use the leather itself for the structure is a much simpler idea. So first I made the shade, glued the ends together with contact cement, and then sewed a seam. Which I really think added a nice design touch anyway. Then once the circumference of the shade was decided, it was easy to make a ring that fit perfectly inside. And then the idea is to solder on the spokes to that.
I am so much happier about this situation.
One of the things that appealed to me the most about this project was the idea to connect the copper pipes for real, using solder. So I'm adding the flux, heating the pipes, and adding the solder. And then also connecting the spokes to the end part of the arm. I don't mind the solder showing it all. I think it's kind of cool that you can see how it is made. It just feels more authentic that way. Once I had the 2 sections made here, I brought the lamp cord through, added some electrical tape on that section to protect it from the heat, and then carefully and very quickly soldered the connection point together to not heat it up too much. So that joint wasn't done as well, because I was trying to make sure the wires didn't melt inside. Then I used the Dremel to clean it up a little bit, and that worked out great. Okay, next, the base. I've got a really nice piece of walnut that I'm cutting down to size, chamfering the edges, and it has a little bit of a live edge, so just carefully cleaning it up.
Okay, so I'm at the point now where I need to attach the lamp to the base. So I got a piece of this beautiful walnut cut up, and I have a very nice switch here.
First, I'm just checking which line is hot and which is neutral, and marking that out on the lamp cord. Then drilling a hole for the copper pipe to sit in the wood, and a slightly smaller hole for the cord to go all the way through. Now I need to make more room underneath for the switch, as well as for the cord to go in from the side. I also need to create some channels in between these holes on the underside where the wires can run, and I'm using a chisel for that. Pulling in the power cord from the side or the back, and now it's time to solder and connect everything together. So it's a pretty simple connection. I have a hot and neutral coming in from the power cord. It splits off where the hot goes to the switch and the neutral goes to the lamp cord coming down from the copper pipe. Then the hot from the lamp connects to the switch. Pulling the switch through and screwing it in place. And to secure everything, I used hot glue. And of course, a good idea to try it out. It works. A little final sanding, and then I did a wash coat of sanding sealer shellac. Let that dry while I attach the shade. And I just marked out where the spokes were, made holes in the leather, and then sewed that in place. Really simple. And finally I put on some of my tung oil wax polish. And this you can find in my shop if you'd like to pick up a tin for yourself.
So I'm very happy about the way this lamp came out. I've been wanting a lamp on this desk for a long time, so this is going to work out really well. It was kind of funny though, because I had this idea of the style that I wanted, in particular the materials and just a general look, but I didn't have an idea of the particulars. And it was kind of tricky to accomplish. It wasn't really until I figured out the shade that it really kind of clicked, and it moved on from there. But oftentimes that's the way a project goes. It's not always just like easy, you know what you're doing all along, so I kind of wanted to show that. I want to thank Squarespace, which enabled me to make this video. I use their system and I really like it. If you are looking for new hosting, or if you want to create a really beautiful website, whether you want just the website or you want to have a shop, I really like them. They have some beautiful templates, which makes it really easy to create a very professional looking website. One that looks like super crisp. Oftentimes you come across a website and you think, oh wow, that looks really crisp. Most of the time it's a Squarespace site, because they make it so easy to create that.
Now you can start your free trial at squarespace.com/DarbinOrvar and get 10% off using the code DARBIN. Use the link in the description below.
Yeah, definitely check them out if you are looking to upgrade your services, kind of create a nice site, whatever you're looking for. There's a link in the description. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about this project and the video style in the comments below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.